Here's to the finest crew in Starfleet.
When it comes to my crew, you won't get any argument from me.
This is a parody. Paramount owns the song.
Welcome to The Greatest Generation. It's a Star Trek podcast by a couple of guys. Just a little bit embarrassed about having a Star Trek podcast. I'm Ben Harrison.
And I'm Adam Pranica.
Adam, I was looking around my office, thinking about straightening it up, and then I was like, why bother? But then, one of the things I noticed strewn about in here was the Bible. And I realized it's been a long time since we've cracked the good book, the show Bible for Star Trek Enterprise.
I don't even remember my last confession. I confess nothing.
It's good to see you all in church.
It's called the Bible.
That's the way God wants it. I don't know why, dude.
All these questions? Is a little blind faith too much to ask?
Should we pick another character's bio from the show and read it?
Can you remind me who we've done already?
I think we've done Archer T'Pau, Subcommander T'Pau,
Yeah.
and I think we did Spike Tucker.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I
mean, I guess that just leaves Mayweather and Phlox, right?
Yeah, we got Mayweather, Phlox, Reed,
Oh, and Hoshi.
and Hoshi. Those are the character bios, and then we've got the Starship Enterprise herself. Something about the Suliban Cabal.
Why don't you give us a Phlox?
You want to hear Phlox?
I think I do. Phlox plays a pretty important role in this one.
Yeah, okay. Full name, Phlox Tunai Urtan. But he goes by Phlox for our benefit. Our most exotic character. The Doctor is an eccentric alien with an oblique sense of humor that no one quite understands. Because he speaks with an accent and isn't familiar with Earth cultures, there are many humorous misunderstandings. Phlox thinks that humanity is fascinating, the complex sexual mores. His species reproduces asexually. Social custom. Oh my, what wonderful creatures. Very strange sentence construction here in the Bible. You know, but that's like the thing. It's like ancient text, you know? It wasn't written in a modern vernacular.
Sure. Yeah. Is that it?
No, there's another paragraph here.
Okay. You know what's so interesting about the way Phlox is written in the Bible and about the many misunderstandings that are baked into this character is that all of the cultural mismatch that occurs between him and other members of the crew, it's kind of magical how always kind and funny those misunderstandings are. They're never like, God, Phlox was fucking cruel to Hoshi in that one scene. Like, ouch!
Yeah.
Like that is totally withering. You never get that, or at least we haven't so far.
I do like that there's a little paternalism in the way he enjoys human culture. Like, we're a little bit quaint and backwards to him, you know?
I mean, his people have been around the block.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you only fuck one of each other at a time? Oh, man.
I mean, that's really it, isn't it? It's like that poly attitude of like, oh, that's cute. You're married, huh? Uh-huh. Neat.
Oh, you're having a tough time communicating?
He does have that energy.
Yeah. To say that the Doctor has made himself at home on the Enterprise is putting it mildly. He's filled sickbay with all sorts of bizarre medical instruments, alien plants, and spores, and stasis chambers filled with small living creatures. He practices a brand of intergalactic medicine, the likes of which we've never seen. This makes the most routine visit to sickbay an unexpected adventure.
Yeah, it's Star Trek within Star Trek, isn't it? Like, that's what sickbay is on Enterprise.
You never know what's going to go inside you down there. I feel like the sickbay this describes, though, is not quite visually what is represented on the show. Like, I kind of wish it was a little more mad science-y in there based on this description. Like, we see the terrariums and stuff from time to time, but it's not like all terrariums and like jack-off machines a la Maestro in Star Trek Voyager, you know?
Maravilloso.
Do you think you'd be more apt to go to sickbay manned by Dr. Phlox or less, given the expectation of something weird? Because on the one hand, you should fully expect the unexpected going to his sickbay. But also, I think you must presume that you're going to get great medical care that probably is a shortcut to whatever you want done in a way that Starfleet medicine is incapable of providing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he is definitely more capable than anybody in Starfleet that could have gotten put on duty of chief medical officer on board the NX-01. But I do think that even in a immediately post-utopian human society like we're talking about here, they just got all their shit together, I got to imagine a human thing that we all suffer from, that they probably still would suffer from to some extent, is I don't know what the fuck that is, and that's weird to me, and I'm a little bit nervous about it when you go to sickbay and he wants to put an alien leech on you or whatever.
Most of his cures seem to involve reptiles and blood-sucking, bloodletting, the letting of all kinds of fluids, really.
I was watching an episode of Bluey with my son the other day, and they go through a river or something, and they get leeches on them. And I was like, I guess in Australia, getting leeches is no big deal because it's just a part of life as a kid. You just get some leeches sometimes and you pull them off you.
Nobody else got hit? I'm the only one? What's the deal?
Was there a classic scene where a kid gets out of the river and then looks down their underpants and freaks out? Because I think legally, if you've been covered in leeches, your genitals must also have a leech on them.
Right. And it's not that. It's just, it's like, oh yeah, their dad is you got some leeches on you, kiddo. That happens to everyone.
Have you ever had a leech on you? You've been to a lot of places around the world.
I have, and I've been in some pretty sus bodies of water, I must say, but I've never had a leech, and I feel like...
God, I lost money on that bet. I would have been positive you'd have a leech on you.
I would just say, maybe Australians would be better adapted to flying around with Phlox than other members of Starfleet,
I'm just shocked. Has Benjamin R. Harrison ever had a leech on him? No. What about you, random Australian? No. Very surprising.
Yeah,
Hey, are you kind of leech curious?
I got to admit, I'm a little bit leech curious. I wonder what it feels like pulling it off. Is it...
You hear that they're not painful because their saliva is numbing.
Yeah. But is it ripping off a Band-Aid when they come off? Or is it a little bit more intense than that?
I swear, baby, it was leeches. I took a trip to Australia, right? You know that. I was in Australia working.
I have a hickey on my pecker. You wouldn't do that normally.
It must be one of those undisclosed sexual aids. No, what is that?
It's never leeches.
It's never leeches.
That's what the suspicious wife thinks.
Yeah, were the leeches also wearing bright red lipstick and kissing your collar?
Yeah. Yeah, do the leeches smell like Chanel? Maybe if you swim on the river where the Chanel factory operates and dumps all their wastewater, that could be nice.
Well, an alluring scent may be at play in today's episode of Star Trek Enterprise, Adam. Definitely some bright lipstick. It is Season 3, Episode 4, Rajin.
Got free speech and guitars.
Our cold open is at another meeting of the Xindi of the Round Table, where they're discussing what Enterprise has been up to now. Here's the thing. Everyone's mad at Degra. Poor Degra has fallen behind on the development of his planet-killing weapon. And everyone's like, you know what, Degra? If you're not going to deliver the weapon on time, maybe we're just going to see if we can come up with some different weapons. Some more horrible weapons that you couldn't possibly develop because you're so fucking slow.
It would be nice if some of these Xindi had the Emperor is coming to motivate Degra, you know? Like, I feel like when you're building a planet killer weapon that is a giant sphere, you want the threat of Emperor to really freak out whoever is in charge of building that thing.
The Death Star will be completed on schedule.
There is not a bunch of like racial put down pushbacks from Degra here, because you would expect Degra to look at the tank full of the aquatic Xindi and he was like, what are you gonna do? Like you're gonna build a bomb underwater? That's fucking stupid. That will never work. Yet somehow the responsibility is on me, Degra, the dry one, to build the bomb.
But also, Degra, when you're explaining you're losing and when you're talking about how this is a difficult and dangerous project, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. No one cares about all of the obstacles. Hey, Degra, would you say you blame your difficulties on other people? Because, you know, when you, I'm looking at your hand, Degra, you don't have like either an insect claw or an underwater
or
flapper.
A flipper.
If you're going to point at someone and blame them, guess what? You and your species of Xindi are going to have fingers pointing back at them.
Man, can you imagine the like segregationist past of the Xindi homeworld and how many fucking water fountains they must have had?
I mean, if you're underwater Xindi, your whole world is a fountain, isn't it?
Yeah. So those guys were sitting pretty back then.
I bet underwater Xindi were the last ones to join the group. Like the 4 Xindi species, they find each other, they know each other, they're like, cool, all right. I mean, what sucks is we're like an even number of Xindi, so that makes voting and agreeing on things difficult. But I mean, that's just who we are. That's who we've got at the table. One of them goes on vacation and goes swimming. God damn it. Really? Really? There's another?
Yeah.
And they're talking to me?
Like they swim out to the raft and everybody's like, hey, look, Jerry made it out to the raft. Good job, Jerry. And he's like, what is he saying? He seems distressed. He seems kind of pissed off out there.
One of them touched my leg. And they're talking also.
Yeah.
That's also very disturbing.
Just swim back. It looks like he doesn't want to get in the water. Should we get a boat?
Degra is not enjoying the dunk session that's happening at this meeting on poor Degra. And they're like, look, if Degra can't hack it with the building or whatever, I mean, should we even deploy? When he finally completes the bomb making, I mean, can we trust it? I think we should consider other options at this table. And that's the cold open.
As Spock put it in Star Trek 2009, it's logical to cultivate multiple opportunities.
Sure is. After the theme, we're into Paul's room. She and Trip Tucker are doing another relaxation session, and she is impressed at his progress. Mm-hmm. You've been practicing at home, haven't you, Trip?
It's another to rub and tug session.
You can't help but say it, but people are starting to talk to Paul about all these late night sessions, about me coming over in my pajamas and then leaving a couple hours later, appearing to be very relaxed. You know the implication of that, right?
I see no reason to be concerned with idle gossip.
It doesn't bother you?
Just the chub he's got to be sporting in his off-duty sweatpants as he slinks back to his room is giving away the game, right? Everybody's like, all right, we know what's going on here.
Do you get the sense that it is more than just Reed that's gossiping, or is it Reed only?
I need something to do on this ship, Commander.
Fair enough.
Because Reed is the example cited, but there is definitely an air of the ship's got gossips, people are talking about us. I'm not super comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, does Trip have any friends outside of Reed is another question that I think we should probably give some consideration to.
I mean, if not, that is actually a pretty bad sign for Trip Tucker. I love T'Pol here. She's like, I generally do not care about gossip on board the ship, and I specifically do not care about Reed's opinion on what's going on here. So do you think we can continue?
That guy that's a lieutenant is bothering you? Do you remember that he's a lieutenant, right? That guy's not worthy to lick the massage oil off our boots, much less talk shit about us behind our backs.
How about you tell Reed next time he's got some sort of quip about what we do in the evening with each other? Have him record a log to one of his ex-girlfriends about it. Leave us the fuck alone.
Archer is also having lousy sleep, and we see him tossing and turning in bed. The immediate thought I had is like, can T'Pol help him out too? Or is that like too many people to be rubbing and to tugging?
You know, normally it's the dog keeping the human awake. In this case, it's Archer keeping Porthos awake.
Yeah.
All scratchy.
Yeah.
And normally it would be the dog scratching themselves. This time it's Archer.
It is the remainder of his Cro-Mag loaf that he goes down to sickbay and is getting like unguents to put on it. He's still got little like lingering stuff, and this is like days and days later.
Isn't it surprising how serialized consequences feel on Star Trek in a series where we're kind of not used to those?
I know.
I was ready for this to be something totally different. Like, what's going on with Archer's skin?
And no, it is stuff from last episode that is bothering Archer's skin.
Yeah.
You were transformed into a different species. Don't expect to recover overnight.
Speaking of skin, they still need to coat the skin of the ship with Trellium D. They've got a lead on this. They met a chemist who knows how to make it. Synthesis of Trellium D is something that would put mines like the one that they visited out of business. But he claims to have a method and is willing to sell it to them.
Do you recall a reason why they just don't go back to that mine and kick some ass and take it?
I mean, that wet guy is there, and he was kind of a pain in the butt.
They killed the boss.
Did they kill him?
Oh, yeah, that guy got shot in the face by a Mako.
Oh.
He's dead anyway.
Yeah, but they did have, like, ships that were also, you know, like...
Why not avoid the heat, I guess?
Yeah. So, you know, Archer's like, we got to go find that chemist guy, and he's on this planet that we're going to. But, man, all I can think about is that the city of Urquhart and how much I would rather live there.
Yeah.
Underground with all the other Lokek.
That is another long symptom to what's happened to him. That's going to be sticking around a while.
He's got long Lokek?
He does. Yeah. Yeah, so Enterprise pulls up to a very blue planet.
Yeah, it's a libertarian paradise, a whole seasteading operation. They send a shuttle pod down there. And I was like thinking to myself, Phlox would love it here as the line flies out of Trip's mouth because they're in a wet market.
It's true. We get another bazaar setup. They got everything. They got animals, they got eggs, they got produce, they got the hard sellers that you get at a bazaar who are not too keen about giving directions. They are more keen on selling their wares.
Scarves. So many scarves available in this bazaar.
Not even the chemist is interested in talking to Archer at first when they finally find him.
Yeah.
But as soon as things feel profitable conversationally, this guy opens right up. He knows the value of the information he's got about the Xindi.
I'd be happy to direct you for a small fee.
Good thing Trip Tucker has kind of an inventory of stuff that they can barter in exchange. So that's good, right?
This guy's got real Stooley in a cop show energy. Like, oh yeah, there was some Xindi here, but I can't remember where they were going after this. And they're like, would my friend Abraham jog your memory? Kind of.
Right.
Everything is for sale here. And what they're doing is going around claiming that they're on a diplomatic mission to meet some Xindi. But yeah, they're going to need to head back to the ship to get the stuff that this guy wants in exchange for the recipe.
It's good faith to believe I can do parody.
While Trip is occupied with that, Archer and Reed roll up on the guy the chemist referred them to. This is a guy who had met the Xindi.
Yeah.
And his deal for selling slaves so infectious. Did this get stuck in your head? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Hot girl slaves. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Hot girl slaves. Have a look. Hot girl slaves. Have a look. Hot girl slaves. Very, very good. Hot girl slaves. Very, very good. Hot girl slaves. And now it's just stuck in your head.
Yeah. This guy looks like he's straight out of Dragon Ball Z with his loaf.
He looks like he could get along with old what's-her-name, the Andorian. Like, they've got some chromosomal features that, if combined, would make just a skyscraper forehead as a child.
You're talking about a form of selective breeding.
Yes.
Eugenics, some might call it, to achieve the tallest head.
Eugenics, but good. That's what I'm advocating for.
Oh, yeah.
For just hilarious consequences like 8 heads.
Why has nobody ever thought about this with eugenics? It's had such a bad rep because it's only ever used for bad.
Let's just make really tall foreheads for a while. That's fun, right?
So the Xindi left 2 days ago, and he's not telling where they went because he has some standards as a humanoid trafficker, I guess you would call him. He keeps the private business of his clients private, and he suggests to Archer, like, maybe if you bought one of these here slave girls, they could tell you something because they're not bound by the same professional ethics code that I, a slaver, am bound by.
It kind of makes a lot of sense. And if I'm Archer, I gotta be considering this, right? And if I'm Reed, I'm definitely considering it. Like, Reed's got his wallet out in this scene, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Reed's wallet pops out because his pants suddenly get kind of tight around the waist and it just, doesn't have any space left in his pocket.
There's this moment where Archer says no. No, I am not interested in buying a slave. And yet, no one says he can't window shop. So he's having a good look at the goods.
Yeah.
And there's one lady up on the top shelf who has a very intense stare. And it seems like she might be a problem.
But Archer gets a phone call from Trip and starts walking away. Walking away from such beauty. How can he do it?
Archer looks down at his iPhone and it says Trip, and like where the business would be, parentheses nipples.
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
Because initially, it's hard to learn everyone's name on the crew. You need a description also for how you know them.
Right.
Many contacts in my phone are like this. How do I know this person?
Mm-hmm. I used to live on Bedford Avenue in Brooklyn, and I was Ben Bedford in my wife's phone for a decade. And I'm not that anymore, and I kind of wish I still was.
Then that name was turned into Ben Bed Me. And then now it's more like Ben No More Bedding.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Ben sleeps in a separate bed. That's what it is now.
Ben, get out of bed and check on the kids. So they're gonna meet back at the shuttle so that they can go up and get all the stuff that they're trading for the recipe.
Here go the recipes.
And one of these slaves that Frieza is selling makes a run for it. And I guess they don't have any ankle shackles or, restraining bolts or anything on these slave girls.
I mean, this is Zajad, isn't it? You gotta chain them up. You see this in science fiction all the time. You think Leia is gonna stick around with Jabba if she's not chained up?
I mean, also that was on Jabba. Don't give Leia that much slack in her chain, don't give her enough chain that it can go around your neck.
I know.
And this guy, similar mistake. Similar but worse mistake, I would say.
I mean, the longest leash is no chain at all, isn't it?
So many marmots get disturbed in the Star Trek fight because she makes a run for it.
Take me with you, please.
And now Archer has to defend her from her cellar.
Mm-hmm.
And they're knocking over cages of these local delicacies / delightful pets that everybody's selling.
Great fight. So much fun.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff getting knocked over.
Scarf getting repurposed as a Garrett.
Yeah. Big fun.
Yeah.
Big fun.
They kick this guy's ass and they're out of there. Their next scene is in sickbay, and even Phlox is not immune to her appeal. He's hitting on her, telling her how much he likes her eyes. And she introduces herself as Regine, and she will serve Archer well.
Do you think it's easy for doctors to flirt in general because you can always blame it on being clinical?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't help but notice your pupillary dilation from across the bar. It seems like you may be inebriated or whatever. Like a doctor can say things and has a reason to engage that you could just play off as, oh no, I'm a doctor. That's why I was saying that.
The first time I ever saw boobs in a movie was my parents rented the film Doc Hollywood.
Love Doc Hollywood.
And
not specifically for that, but I like that movie.
They did not know there were going to be boobs in this movie. And I was, probably like 10 or something when topless lady comes out of the lake that she's been swimming in. And Michael J. Fox invokes his status as a doctor to say, like, hey, don't worry about being topless around me. I've seen it all. I'm a doctor.
I mean, it was Julie Warner.
Yeah.
And there was a time for Julie Warner. I just want to say that.
Oh, I fully believe it. I have not rewatched that movie since the incredibly awkward experience of seeing it as a 10-year-old, sitting cross-legged on the floor in front of my parents in the TV room. Like, I think that it is such a perfectly horny moment in my memory of the film that I don't want to ruin it by like actually watching it now and seeing if it holds up.
Because you still use it from time to time as a memory?
All the time.
To maybe like get yourself over the top when needed?
Yeah. Imagine I was a doctor and I was saying, you should not feel the need to cover yourself in front of me, for I can be trusted with the knowledge of what them titties look like.
It's not the scene, but the moment, though, that you use. It is you very specifically with your parents watching this movie.
Yeah. Why did you just say your mom and dad are sitting behind you on a couch? Sorry, the moment just kind of got away from me.
Why, when you're about to bust, do you keep saying, let's rewind that part, let's rewind that part, let's rewind that part? When Archer walks in, he also likes her eyes in a different way. And anyway, this lady's name is Regine, and she's very thankful for being out of that hellhole.
Yeah.
She thinks she's been purchased, and she's ready to work.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, oh yeah, like you don't have to do that. We're going to take you back to Arametku, the homeworld of your species. And she's like,
I'm told it's called Arontaku, but
I don't know her.
You remember that sketch Wong and Owen, ex-porn stars from like 90s SNL?
Not ringing a bell.
The the conceit of it is like ex-porn stars try to get square jobs to like work in an office, but like obviously things get unintentionally sexualized, and as soon as they're called out on their porn star bullshit, they make you feel bad for them because they're like, it's all I know, it's all I know. And that's kind of the Regine energy here, which is like she's ready to thank Archer for saving her because it's all she knows.
Right. She only has one lever she can pull in life to like make the situation better for herself. And she is not familiar with the idea of somebody that isn't just using her for what she looks like. So there are a number of times when this creates misunderstandings between her and her captors, or what they are interpreting as misunderstandings.
And I've got faith of the fart. Legally, it's just a fart joke.
Back on the libertarian paradise planet where everyone is seasteading, Trip has brought a Halliburton briefcase full of what we are going to assume is going to be bands for this chemist. And when we open it up, it's not bands. It's a bunch of like McCormick spices in jars.
Yeah.
This is very exciting to him, especially as Trip kind of sweetens the pot, going like, we used to fight wars over these things on our homeworld. Now we kicked all the asses of the people that cultivate them, and they just kind of send them to us. We don't have to fight wars anymore. It's just part of global capitalism. It kind of got subsumed into an economy that extracts from the global south and enriches the global north. And the guy's like, I don't know about any of that. Anyways, really excited about huffing pepper.
This is great. And his nostrils are up near his eyes.
Yeah.
That's just going to make an eye-watering situation, isn't it?
I thought for sure this guy was going to wind up having some horrible sickness, just given how irritated his nostrils looked. You know? There's a lot of redness and puffiness around those nostrils.
Spice melange, not one of the spices traded in exchange for the Trellium.
No. This guy's never going to become a level 3 guild navigator huffing black pepper.
There is sort of a gremlin-style warning to the liquid Trellium exchange.
Yeah, sure.
The chemist is like, look, it's a liquid now because that's how it's made. You need to take this recipe and turn it into the ship insulation that you need it for. But here's the thing. This stuff is explosive. So be careful.
It's real explosive. And as they leave, it becomes clear that this guy is kind of like a sneeze maxer. Like literally he paid for these spices with this priceless synthesis of Trellium D recipe so that he could get the giggles because he had a sneeze.
Is this a sex thing? I'm not familiar with that word or with that term.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Like, I've definitely seen a toddler do it. Like, think having sneezed is a very funny thing to do.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I don't know. The French call it the little death, sneezing, right?
He does the cinnamon challenge on himself.
Basically.
That's tough. Don't love that. On Enterprise, Archer has chosen to have dinner with Regine. And we know this isn't a date because whenever you choose to have a salad where the leaves are enormous and then there's that big wafer of Parmesan crisp in the middle, that's not a date because that's not food that you can cleanly eat in front of a potential romantic partner.
It's like the shoestring fries of salads, you know? It's like there's only embarrassing ways to eat it, you know?
What's wrong with shoestring fries?
They're just very hard to eat in a non-embarrassing way. Like, I'm not going to eat one at a time like a fucking asshole.
Go on. I'm thinking about all the times I've had and enjoyed shoestring fries. You're just grabbing some fries and you're eating them.
Right, but like the bird nest that you get is hard to eat gracefully.
You got to choose a small nest.
There's no way to choose a small nest.
You got to be strategic. You can't just have the fully loaded shoestring fries.
I would much rather have big leaf salad with Parmesan wedge on a date than shoestring fries on a date.
I think that's madness. I can't get on that level. Anyway, I'm surprised that they're together enjoying a meal, but I think the saladness of the moment de-romanticizes what this is.
Sure. And further de-romanticizing it is when he starts to pump her not for his own pleasure, but for intel on the Xindi. And she describes these reptilian ones that came to the slave girl market and how she was kind of relieved not to be purchased by them because, and that's kind of like as much as she thinks she knows about these guys.
She's like, you're never going to believe the little sea monsters, Xindi. Like, I could describe them to you. You're just going to have to see them to believe them. All right, Archer?
Yeah.
Trust me.
I mean, like, just thank your lucky stars that you don't see them first by swimming out to the raft, you know?
I mean, I will say, as a sex slave, the one advantage to the underwater Xindi is that they can hold their breath a very long time. Archer's like, you're kind of a cool sex worker. You're kind of pretty womaning me right now with this riz, aren't you?
Yeah.
Let me give you a tip. I'm a sure thing. Okay, so I'm on an hourly rate. Could we just move along?
It's getting steamy in there with the Riz, and Trip kind of dumps a bucket of ice water on that by radioing up about his synthesis project.
Where do you think they are for this dinner? Are they in the captain's mess?
I thought so, yeah.
I thought so too, but I wasn't sure, which is what made him just leaving her alone there. Something felt off about that, and it made me suspicious of her in a way we're meant to feel suspicious.
Yeah, because he's described, like, there are a couple of parts of the ship that you can't go, but you can basically go anywhere. Like, we're going to treat you as an honored guest.
How much trouble can she get into in the dining room?
Yeah, with a neckline plunging like that, you know, probably not much.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've basically set up like a meth lab in like a part of the ship that's designed to be like a place where that they can bug out for cosmic radiation or whatever, because it's like it's tough. It can handle a boom.
It's kind of where you'd want your apartment if you were staying on Enterprise.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like the best spot.
Yeah, if you wanted an apartment that's like a ramshackle shed on the outskirts of town that, you know, not a lot of people are going to ask questions about.
It's the cheapest cabin on the Star Trek cruise. Windowless, deep in the middle. Bump your head on the ceiling.
That's where the Uxbridge Shimoda team will be if we ever get onto a Star Trek cruise.
Yeah. Like the underwater Xindi, I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah.
So this lab is set up between two emergency bulkheads for safety. But that night in Archer's quarters, Regine shows up wearing a dress that makes Archer think that some emergency bulkhead might be on order. Yeah?
Yeah, he's...
That's what we do on this show.
He's trying to remember if he packed his dome cloak or not.
Right. I love how in order to desexualize the moment Archer starts talking, he knows that's what he has to do to make this less like that.
Yeah. And she wants to sex him up. She's like, you know, like, you don't have to feel like I'm doing this for slavery reasons. I'm doing it because I really appreciate you helping me out and taking me to my home planet or whatever. Like, I don't know anybody there. I don't necessarily want to go there, but you got me out of a bad situation. Listen, I was in sex slavery for a reason. I can really do some amazing shit. You're not going to believe it.
I'm the handjob queen of the galaxy.
I have certain gifts. Would you like me to show you?
She starts kind of hover handing him, and her hover hands make his birdie see-through.
Yeah.
We get to see everything in this episode.
This looks fairly pleasurable for Archer to be experiencing.
It does.
The weird part about this scene, and it's the only moment this happens, because she does this to some other people on the crew later on.
Yeah.
There's sort of a time jump where it feels like Archer might have been slipped a Mickey. Like he snaps out of it and he's like, did that really happen?
And they're like further apart than he thought they were.
Yeah.
And she's like, you good? And he's like, what? Huh?
What? Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Why are you asking?
Yeah, like we're having a lot of fun together, right?
Legally, it's just a fart joke. You will never take the greatest gin alive. Ben would rather die.
What?
We cut over to the Trillium trap house where Trip and T'Pol are cooking things up. And things are feeling dangerous because they can't get on top of this temperature spike. Stuff's getting out of control. And some alarms start going off. And do they need to evacuate? T'Pol asks. Trip's like, no. T'Pol's like, really? Because we could evacuate right now.
Yeah, I did like that they started this scene with a kind of shaky cam shot of a sign that said Trillium D Synthesis Facility.
Yeah.
And, you know, all of Trip's ideas for how to fix it are like, grab me that, you know, elastic band from that table over there.
Big fun.
And T'Pol keeps saying how much time they have left.
Yeah. Yeah. The third time T'Pol suggests evacuation, Trip finally gets the message. And like, as the door meets the jam, this thing blows big.
Yeah. They're going to need to take a break because this was an explosion that set them back. Like, they're going to have to rebuild the lab, basically, to try again.
What isn't said is, like, they need housekeeping to reset the lab in there. Like,
yeah.
Why don't we give them some time?
Trip is like, let's get right back into it. And T'Pol is like, let's take a nap. And by nap, I mean, I give you a rub down.
Yeah.
I'd prefer you arrested before we make another attempt.
Elsewhere at the transporter, Regine has been looking around, as she was invited to do by Archer, where she is spotted by Hoshi, who isn't upset to see a stranger near a sensitive piece of ship equipment, but isn't isn't upset either. There's kind of a real official...
Yeah, like, what are you...
She's not a jerk about it, but she's like, hey, what are you doing here? By the transporter. And then she gets a special handshake from Regine, which changes things between them from a, what are you doing here, to a, what could we be doing here kind of vibe.
Yeah. Hoshi is delighted to learn that Regine is a bit of a linguist herself. And, a couple of ladies adept in linguistics can have a lot of fun together,
I'd love to hear your language. Actually, I speak quite a few.
Cut over to T'Pol's quarters where Regine has been waiting for her. Creepy moment. Kind of a horror movie blocking of Regine appearing. And guess what? T'Pol's going to get a special hand job too.
Because it's like how much time has elapsed between those two moments is like hard to know, right? Like
she's working fast.
Yeah. And Regine is very curious about what kind of finger stuff Vulcans are capable of. And this is like sort of the stuff of legend in Star Trek.
Kind of felt to me like T'Pol was going to get a nosebleed from this kind of hand job. We've seen it before in Star Trek.
Yeah. But even T'Pol's disciplined mind is putty in Regine's hands.
If you're Trip Tucker, how long are you waiting outside, ringing the doorbell for the agreed upon massage session?
Yeah.
It seems like he's out there kind of a long time.
Yeah, he's like we cut to him in the hallway ringing the bell, and then we cut to Regine and T'Pol like inflating a, miniature inflatable pool, and then like pouring some soil and, getting out the hose and filling it with water, and then like starting their mud wrestling match. And then, we keep cutting back to the hallway where Trip's like, I don't know what's going on in there, and keeps ringing the bell.
Sometimes T'Pol likes to take a pre-massage dump.
Yeah.
Well, I better leave her to it.
The mud wrestle finally gets interrupted when Trip comes in and finds a KO'd T'Pol. And he's like standing over her unconscious birdie when Regine drops a breakaway vase over his head.
What do you make of T'Pol's body on the ground after having fought with Regine? This seems too posed.
Yeah.
And it's because she's beautiful. Like, we're going to set her down in kind of an angelic corpse pose kind of way. But, like, she should be in a heap.
She's not in a heap. She's in Shavasana.
Yeah. Yeah.
We learn at this point that Regine is in cahoots with someone because she starts getting on a little transmitter and radioing with some guy. And it becomes clear that all of the stuff about like, oh, I want to like repay you the favor of getting me out of slavery or whatever was entirely a put on. Regine has been working them from jump.
Sex workers got game. So does the security dude who gets the magic fingers when he tries to challenge her. This guy stood no chance.
Yeah.
The captain would like to see you.
There's no need to bother the captain.
He had nothing to defend himself from what she is working with.
I mean, he had a phaser, which Regine takes, and that's crucial because she starts wielding this thing at any security person who comes after her.
Yeah, and like at this point, like it's gone out ship-wide that she needs to be caught. And so like groups of Makos and security people are running around chasing her. This gets her into engineering, where at one point she does like a pretty awesome John Woo, like flinging herself over the railing and falling down a story while shooting action move.
Yeah, Mike Vehar clearly has watched a lot of Chow Yun-Fat films because this is right out of that for sure. Pretty great moment. I mean, this is the sort of stunt that involves the mats. You break out the mats for this one.
Yeah. They've got those on the Paramount lot,
Mm-hmm.
So she gets to the transporter when finally Archer and a couple of red shirts catch her. And Archer is like so hurt that this was all a put on.
He shows up at the strip club and he's like, babe, you told me you loved me.
And she's like, it's not like that, man. That's like the job.
Yeah. Yeah. He is very hurt. Here's a question I had. when he tells security to drag her away to the brig, why didn't he put a pair of welding gloves on her hands or something? Because what is stopping her from giving hand jobs all the way to the brig?
The red shirts that took her did not look like, guys who could resist her charms. And he didn't, brief them on what she's capable of or anything.
No, that's bad.
I think you need 12 people to take this perp to the brig.
I think so too. I think it's bad.
You know what you need is all of the gay dudes on the ship and all of the straight women on the ship to get together and take her to the brig. Only people that are completely immune to her charms.
I think you could argue that no one's immune, Ben.
Wow.
I think a great hand job overrides gender preference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In this case.
She is just the skilled practitioner on the other side of the glory hole, and you don't really care what her pronouns are.
A hand is a hand. Hands are just hands.
Somehow these guys are entrusted to take her to the brig, and we learn from Phlox that T'Pol would be dead if she were human or Denobulan. It's only her extremely rugged Vulcan physiology that saved her from the super hand job she received. And she's not going to be back in action for a few hours.
This is a new Archer. This is season 3 Archer, which is why when he's told by a medical professional that T'Pol will be down for the count while he can administer to her injuries, he's like, can I talk to her? Can you wake her up so I can talk to her? I got to ask her some stuff. He would never do that in season 2.
Yeah, no.
I won't cease or desist, 'cause we really think it's fair use.
So he goes down instead to talk to Regine in jail. He's like, who was that on the other end of the line when you were talking on your little flip phone there? And she won't tell him.
Is that your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Or something? Like who was that guy?
Are you guys serious? Or what? What does he mean to you?
Because I thought what we had was special.
What we did with your hands and my head, that didn't mean anything to you? How is that possible?
She has no answers for him to any of his questions.
I asked you a question.
I can't answer it.
She's just you are Ralph Wiggum in the back of the bus, man. You're in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's all she'll tell.
That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you any more, they'll kill me.
The one thing she says, which got a laugh out of me, a real laugh, which was like, all I can tell you is you should let me go, which is such a fucking Pee-wee's Big Adventure suggestion. Why would he in a million years do that?
Yeah. Maybe the they she keeps talking about is the 2 Xindi reptilian craft coming up behind the entrepreneur who are now shooting at the ship, and bangers are getting dropped while Archer is looking through the reinforced glass into the brig. We learn that they're here for her. She says, listen, they're not going to hurt anybody if you just let me go. And he's pretty hard in this moment. He's like, there's 7 million deads back on my homeworld. Why the fuck do you think I would think twice about killing you?
Ben, somehow magically you've been given the command of a Federation starship. Try to imagine bangers have been dropped on your ship while you're in the brig talking to a prisoner. Can you think of any circumstance why you would not return to the bridge immediately as those bangers drop? They're feeling them in the brig. Archer gets a message from Mayweather about these ships.
Yeah.
Archer chooses to stay in the brig. This blew me away.
It was a good choice by him because I think she's realizing that these bangers threaten her as much as anybody else.
Yeah, and to stay near her means to solve the mystery of who these guys are because they're clearly after her.
Get the information that she was guarding before. So she's like, oh, okay, they wanted to make a bioweapon, but they don't know enough about your physiology to do it. And I can scan with my hands, baby. That's what I was doing to you guys, was getting the information that they need for this bioweapon. And that's really all I know. And as she is explaining this, we learn that one of the Xindi craft is coming up alongside and is going to like forcibly dock with the entrepreneur. And this seemed a little silly to me. Like, can anyone really force you to dock with them? Like, couldn't they just roll away like the second they get close?
I think that's why you don't see the exterior shot of this being attempted.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
They station a bunch of Makos in the corridors, preparing to defend the ship from the boarding parties. But 3 Makos is not enough guys, You need a lot of guys because the reptilians are sending a lot of guys.
Yeah, by the time we learn how many, Reed tells Archer that 3 boarding parties have been let in, and they are just laying waste to the few Makos that have been sent to go get them. It's not working.
How many fucking Makos do we have? Like, what are they all on break? Like, send them to defend the ship.
They're all sitting in the mess hall at Hoshi's table. So Reed and Archer split up, and they each take a couple of Makos with them. And I don't know about you, Ben. I was shocked that there was an Insecto Xindi involved because we were told that these were lizard-style Xindi doing the boarding.
There were Lizzos and Insectos and like some cool weapons. Like one of them shoots like goo against a wall and then the goo has like thorns or I don't know. I couldn't tell if they were like an energy burst or a burst of thorns, but those knocked down a bunch of Makos.
When you see this weapon specifically deployed, you got to think that the Makos don't stand a chance, right?
Yeah.
This is just too good.
The Xindi bust into the brig, and they've got Regine.
It looks like they use a hacked ThermoWorks thermometer that they place on the thing. Did you notice that? This is not branded content, but I love myself a ThermoWorks thermometer.
I have several products from the ThermoWorks company. I've spent hundreds of dollars on various ThermoWorks things over the years. I'm a total slut for that stuff.
They're the best.
Yeah. Like, there's this moment where they're, like, using Regine as a hostage as they move back through the ship to get out. And Archer is like, I can't shoot because Regine is in between me and the bad guy. Shut up, Archer. She's a bad guy, too.
I never got the feeling that he was unwilling to fire because she was around. I never, ever thought that.
Oh, he totally, like, has his gun and then, like, goes like, oh, no, like, she's right
That's
there.
So
like,
dumb.
You got to shoot the hostage. She's not a hostage. She's a bad guy.
Babe, I love you.
Don't go with them. What are you doing?
Like, the Xindi are the actual boyfriend in the cool car picking her up from the strip club. What chance does Archer have? He doesn't have Trans Am energy.
Yeah. The NX-01 is not a T-top.
No, and this scene plays out over and over again. Like she's just out of reach from him. Doors are just closing between them.
Yeah. You got to shoot. But they get away with her and they disappear into invisibility. And this looked a lot like going into the cloaking field around that sphere.
Sure did.
But it is described as a vortex and they can't track the Xindi after this. And they got like one of these guys. So they have a Xindi body on the slab in 6 Bay. And they're like, what can we find out from this guy? Like, can you wake him up? Unfortunately, he had like a cyanide capsule gland in his body that's described as having been surgically installed.
We used to encounter this all the time on our hit war movie podcast. Yeah. And I don't know if I ever said it on that show. I'm going to say it right here. I think I'd love one of these. I'd love to have one as an option.
The false tooth that will take you out if you crunch on it the wrong way.
Yeah, like someone shoves me off of a building. Bite, crunch.
Yeah, at least it's on your own terms.
This plane's going down. Oh man, the masts have come down. Oh, there's smoke and there's fire. Crunch.
Yeah, and then like you land in the Hudson and everybody's like, we all made it. Hey, what happened to 16F? He doesn't look so good.
Hey, 16F, time to go. Let's get out on the wing.
This is the Romeo and Juliet style dramatic irony that would end an Adam Pranica.
I want to go out as a story. I think that would fit. Yeah.
Archer's like, okay, like we have actually had an interaction with Xindi at this point, and there is some intel to be gotten, you know, just by the fact that we have this body here and the fact that we like saw what their ships look like or whatever. So like let's at least, you know, make some lemonade out of the lemons of this. And we cut back to the Xindi Legion of Doom, where Degra and the rest are pretty pissed off at what the Lizardmen and the Bugmen have pulled here.
God, Degra's got to be so relieved to not be in the crosshairs of this roundtable meeting. He's like, see?
Finally, it is not Degra's bad thing.
Yeah. Hey, check it out. Not Degra's fault. Hashtag not Degra's fault.
Hashtag not all Degras.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you guys fucked up, but not me. Not Degra. No way.
They bring in Rajin, and they're like, you know, Degra and the rest of you, you may be mad at us, but look at what Rajin got. And she puts her hand on the table, and we get like a hologram showing the internal organ structure of human anatomy. And we learn that now a bioweapon is possible to create. And the underwater guys are like, great, like, okay, let's do big planet-killing sphere and bioweapon. Let's do both, you know? ¿Por qué no los dos? We'll have crunchy tacos and soft tacos tonight.
Degra's like, what? I mean, I thought it was all good with Degra now.
Yeah.
What about Degra's plan?
Is Degra chop liver?
Degra's good now, right? No? Oh, this is terrible. And Rajin here, to her credit, she's like, you know, actually, guys, humans are sort of complicated. And by the way, I've got stuff to tell you about them. But she's dragged away before she can finish.
As though back to jail. Like,
yeah.
She has entirely fucked herself by not working with the humans. Like the Xindi are treating her the way a slave would be treated and not the way a free person would be treated. So maybe the Xindi are all bad.
Unclear.
Okay, you're going to defend the Xindi after this?
Think I am.
We're pursuing two species-killing weapons at the same time, and Adam Pranik is like, hey, you know what? Some genocides are fine.
Ben, you must remember they are doing this as a reaction, as revenge, as revenge for their own homeworld being destroyed.
But it's like pre-revenge, right? It's like prophylactic revenge.
Yeah. Pre-revenge is still genocide in this context, I guess. Did you like this episode, Ben?
I can't pay.
Good for late.
Got no case.
Tempting fate.
I did like this episode. I think that Star Trek has explored the idea of irresistible babe many times, but this one felt different and better than your, you know, Famke Janssen episodes and your...
I didn't think you were so into blondes, Ben. Go on.
What was the lady from TOS that wanted to eat all the salt? You know, because Regine is much more than that would imply. You know, she's actually like working on her own capacity.
She seems more capable than Padma or Famke were in their characters on Star Trek. Like, she's a spy. She's a sex slave and a spy. And that makes her interesting and dangerous in a very different way from the examples that we've seen before.
Right. And it's like, I think it's interesting that it's still a little unclear whether her cover is sex slave or if she actually like was that at some point. You know, like, and then like recruited by the Xindi. I think that the like ambiguity of did she have a real opportunity to free herself that she didn't recognize for what it was is kind of part of what makes this episode so interesting to me.
There's that moment in the cell where she tells Archer some version of, yeah, you're a good man, you're just a dumb man. Like, you did the right thing. Your instinct to save me from slavery was something that a good person does, even though I outsmarted you at every turn. Like, you should at least know that, as if that's a sort of gift that she's giving that seems related to what she tries to do at the very end when she tries to warn the group about how complicated humans are. Like, does that represent any sort of regret in your mind for what she's doing? Or is her warning about humans actually to help? Like, hey, Degra, you especially, like, watch out when you're building this bomb, because humans are squirrely.
Yeah.
I don't know what her point is there yet, and maybe we'll learn.
A pretty compelling episode. Do you want to see if there's anything compelling in the Priority 1 inbox?
Oh, yeah. I would love that. Very much.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Need a supplemental income. Supplemental income? Supplemental. Supplemental. Yeah, it's extra.
The interest alone could be enough to buy this ship.
Adam, got some Priority 1 messages here. The first one is of a promotional nature. It goes like this. Friends of DeSoto, what our theory presupposes is, if you have one embarrassing interest, perhaps you have another. Perhaps science-themed board games like Wingspan or Terraforming Mars. Hosts Jason, Brian, and expert guests sit down once a month to discuss the science behind your favorite board games.
You're required to learn as you play. Roll.
So check out the Gaming with Science podcast at gamingwithscience.net or wherever fine podcasts are found. Have fun playing dice with the universe. That's from the Gaming with Science podcast.
Do you really want to know what's going on in your board game? The Gaming with Science podcast will teach you. Gamingwithscience.net is where you go to get this podcast, along with wherever most people get podcasts, which is everywhere.
I'm psyched about this. I love these nerdy board games. I love every time I get invited to play one with somebody that knows what they're doing. I never know what I'm doing when I sit down to one of these things, but I bet a good chunk of our audience will find this delightful and of particular interest.
Yeah. Good luck getting the greatest gen bump. Gaming with Science podcast. Go get it. Ben, we got a Priority 1 message here from Jason. It is to rejoice in the defeat of that hard.
Okay.
I'm reading it verbatim. That's what it says.
To rejoice in the defeat of that hard.
Here's that message. 4 days before she who is my wife had Arterone, we found my kidney cancer.
Whoa.
Her surgery was followed by mine. Hard times.
Jeez.
And in parentheses, Canadian, so not bankrupt. To rejoice in the defeat of hard times, I request a skit. Adam in the role of Kevin. Ben in the role of Real Doll Ben. Scenario, Kevin accidentally creates a real doll of Ben. Implication, Ben is canon? I'm in the real doll lab, just having a drink talking to myself. I've made 1 million real dolls before. This is easy. Whoops! I spilled some of my real doll ingredients in an ashtray.
Did you say ashtray?
Real doll Ben, what are you doing here?
You know me. I'll walk into any room once. Who are you? You got a funny sibilance in your S's. Has anybody ever pointed that out to you? Why does it smell like latex?
You are way too chatty. Into the fires you go.
Oh, off I go.
And then the sound of 200 pounds of latex and foam being melted. And scene.
Wow. Well, hey, let us all rejoice in the defeat of that hard. And I hope that cancer's in remission.
Yeah.
And your Daron is doing great. And she, who is your wife, is doing great.
I hope that as well. And I hope if you have a Priority 1 message, you go to MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron, write up some words, leave the rest to us. And know that doing so goes a long way in supporting the production of these shows.
Hey, Adam.
What's up, Ben?
Did you find yourself a drunk Shimoda?
Incredible. Drunk Shimoda!
I can't decide whether Archer is just kind of a dupe and a mark or not. And it makes him kind of a good Shimoda for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's projecting hardcore vibes, hardcore captain vibes, season 3 Archer vibes, as we've called them. And yet he was taken advantage of. His kindness twisted. She got the drop on him. No question about it.
He sure did.
Yeah, I'm going to make Archer my drunk Shimoda. How about you?
I think that the specific moment, which I clocked and maybe erroneously clocked since it didn't play the same way for you, but that moment where the Xindi are treating her as a hostage that they're using as a human shield.
By the very name is racist.
Mm-hmm.
And Archer hesitates to shoot. Like, you got to be season 3 Archer about this, Archer.
Yeah, that was season 1 and season 2 Archer creeping in.
Yeah, so for that moment, Archer is also my drunk Shimoda.
Good call.
Face of the fart.
Well, Adam, let's talk about next week's episode. It's season 3, episode 5. It's called Impulse. When Enterprise responds to a distress call from a Vulcan ship stranded in the Delphic Expanse, Archer and his boarding team are attacked by insane, zombie-like Vulcans. And, you know, like, I think it's pretty toxic to use ableist terminology like insane, you know? Like, they are going through something mental health-wise, but, like, let's just admit that part of that is their presence here in the Delphic Expanse. It's not a permanent element of their personalities. They are not bad Vulcans just because they have this disease.
It almost goes without saying.
To see how we will be reviewing this episode, I'm going to go ahead and roll our 100-sided die on the Game of Buttholes, The Will of the Riker, Quantum Leap, which is at gach.biz/game. We're on square 29 right now, Adam. Let's see where this shuttle pod takes us.
You're required to learn as you play. Roll.
I've rolled a 58.
Chula! Did I win?
Hardly.
Jumping us way up to square 87, doorstep of a Temporal Cold War episode.
Ooh, that would have been fun.
Fuck that. This is a regular episode for us, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Regular episodes are good. They're good now.
Yeah, we like them. We like them now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't suck, actually.
Also, like what Wendy Pretty does as the producer of our show, making the show great and funnier, even funnier than we could do on our own.
Mm-hmm.
That's what her editorial choices do.
They sure do. We really appreciate all of the folks who go to MaximumFun.org/join and become members of this here production. It means the world to us.
Yeah, what's that mean? It means you support the show financially, month to month. And that really matters.
Yeah.
When doing this is your full-time job.
And you get bonus content for your trouble. That's great. Go get yourself signed up. What are you doing?
Yeah. MaximumFun.org/join.
We got to thank Rob Adler, our social media director. Follow the @GreatestTrek accounts and sign up for our mailing list. I think you can sign up at podshop.biz. That's easy to find.
Yeah, do it there.
Get yourself some merch while you're there. We got to thank Bill Tilley, our Xindi wartime consigliere, making hilarious trading cards, sharing those on the @GreatestTrek accounts.
Tasting our food before it's given to us.
Got to thank Adam Ragusia, who made our original parody version of the theme song to Enterprise, based on Diane Warren's original. The Goose, our co-host on the Wholesome podcast at patreon.com/wholesome_pod.
Best in the biz.
With that, we will be back at you next time in another great episode of Star Trek Enterprise and an episode of The Greatest Generation Enterprise where Adam and Ben are in perfect mental health.
That's what makes the show so good.
Make it so.
Yeah. People really love that about us.
Make it so. Make it so.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows supported
directly
by you.